In the shadowy depths of scientific discovery, where the lines between reality and the unknown blur, Google's Willow quantum computer stands as a mysterious frontier. Some theorists whisper that this powerful machine, designed to manipulate the very fabric of quantum states, may be doing far more than mere calculations. Could Willow be inadvertently tapping into unseen dimensions, opening a gateway for interdimensional entities to cross into our world? For centuries, cultures across the world have reported encounters with elusive dark figures known as shadow people. Often described as humanoid silhouettes that flicker in and out of sight, these entities have sparked fear, fascination, and debate. Some theorists classify them as spectral remnants, while others believe they are malevolent spirits, time travelers, or even beings from alternate dimensions. As sightings persist, questions grow. What are these shadowy forms, and why are some encounters relatively benign, while others are horrific and traumatizing? When it comes to understanding shadow entities, patterns emerge from the chilling accounts of those who have encountered them. Researchers have attempted to categorize these encounters using two distinct systems, each revealing unsettling insights into the nature of these beings. The first is a level system, which ranks shadow entities by their intensity and observable traits. From fleeting wisps in the corner of the eye to towering, oppressive figures that seem to radiate malevolence. Together, these frameworks paint a grim portrait of a phenomenon that grows more complex and more disturbing with each report. Level 1. Peripheral shadows. At this stage, shadow people are seen only in your peripheral vision. They appear as fleeting, shapeless forms that dart past or linger momentarily, before dissipating when you attempt to focus directly on them. These entities are often dismissed as tricks of the eye, yet many who experience them report an unsettling presence. Level 2. Direct view apparitions. These shadowy figures manifest directly within your field of vision. They are typically dark grey or black, lacking clear form yet distinct enough to defy explanation. Often appearing as formless masses or wisps of smoky darkness, these entities seem to defy normal light behavior, absorbing illumination rather than reflecting it. Level 2 shadow people are usually smaller and less defined than their more advanced counterparts, vanishing as mysteriously as they arrive. Many investigators agree that their appearance in a home may be a sign of demonic presence. Caution should be exercised despite their low-level manifestations. Level 3. Defined shadow beings. Level 3 entities are more substantial and clearly visible in your direct line of sight. These shadow people often appear with distinct human or even animal outlines. They may stand, walk, or hover menacingly in place. Despite their shadowy nature, they can absorb light and, in some instances, paradoxically cast shadows of their own. Their movements can shift from slow and deliberate to rapid bursts of motion, creating an eerie unpredictability. At this stage, shadow entities are considered full shadow people. They may also exert physical force. Level 3 shadow people can become violent and are often connected to nightmares or even lucid night terrors. Level 4 red-eyed entities. Encounters with Level 4 shadow people are far more intense. These figures possess a defined physical mass, absorbing light while still casting shadows. Their most terrifying feature is their glowing red or orange eyes, which seem to burn through the darkness. These entities are reactive, actively seeking to instill fear. Their presence is often accompanied by oppressive dread, and they are believed to thrive on the very fear they generate. Attempts to remove these red-eyed beings are often met with a violent and sometimes dangerous reaction. Amateur investigators encountering these entities are advised not to linger, since haunting attachments are known risk factors. Level 5. Malefic shadows. At the highest and most dangerous level, malevolent shadow entities are formidable and malicious beings. These entities are large, fully formed, and powerful. They may engage in violent behavior, including physically assaulting or overpowering individuals. Victims report experiencing cataplexy, a sudden paralysis triggered by intense terror in the presence of these entities. While red eyes are common, some level 5 shadow beings appear without them, relying instead on their overwhelming presence and forceful nature to instill dread. Malefic shadows are often described as demonic, capable of generating extreme fear and physical harm. The Hat Man is considered by many to be a malefic shadow and perhaps a controller of other shadow people. Interacting physically with these powerful entities can lead to burns, cuts, and, in rare incidents, heart attacks or strokes. Some speculate these entities are either ancient or have fed off vast amounts of energy, either electrical, such as EMF or EMR, or emotional from fear or even death. The idea of a demonic connection has led many to believe all shadow entities are, in fact, evil in nature and were never alive in a natural or human form. The progression from fleeting shadows to fully formed malevolent entities illustrates a chilling hierarchy. As one ascends this scale, the encounters become more defined, more threatening, and far more dangerous. Those who experience level 4 or 5 entities often describe life-altering encounters, leaving behind both physical and emotional scars. It's easy for witnesses and victims to fall into depression and isolation, since most people will accuse you of lying or being quite simply insane. While skeptics often dismiss one-on-one encounters as mere imagination or misinterpretation, the situation becomes far more complex when multiple witnesses report seeing these entities, especially in broad daylight. Such shared experiences challenge conventional explanations and demand closer scrutiny. To better understand these witness accounts, it's essential to consider both the location and the nature of the encounter. Classifying these experiences by key factors, such as the site's history, environmental conditions, and the entity's apparent intent, can reveal important patterns and insights that deepen our understanding of these mysterious occurrences. A Type A experience unfolds within the home, most commonly in the bedroom, making it one of the most frequent shadow entity encounters. These sightings can manifest across all levels of shadow entities, from fleeting shapes to imposing figures. They are often seen lurking in the corners of rooms, standing at the foot of a bed, or even crawling along walls like unnatural insects. Some report shadowy figures lingering in the hallway, silently watching from the darkness beyond the doorframe. In less extreme cases, you may simply catch a fleeting glimpse of movement from the corner of your eye while sitting on your couch, or notice a portion of a room appearing foggy or distorted, sometimes revealing a distinct shadowy form that vanishes before you can focus on it. These entities are notoriously quick-moving, rarely lingering for long. A Type B experience is far less common and is described as a transient visitation. These entities appear to be passing through, a dark figure drifting across a yard, moving through a hallway, or walking silently down the street. Unlike other types, these shadows seem less aware of or interested in humans, as if they're merely following some unseen path. They rarely linger or react to human presence, giving the impression they are focused on their own spectral purpose. The elusive Type C experience is among the rarest and often carries an ominous tone. These shadow entities are believed to act as omens, appearing before significant and sometimes tragic events. While not always tied to death or disaster, these sightings often leave witnesses deeply unsettled. Common manifestations include hooded figures, hellhounds, or dark-robed entities that seem to radiate an unnatural dread. Once the foretold event has occurred, these entities tend to vanish without explanation. A Type D experience is highly personal and deeply unsettling. These shadow entities engage in stalking behavior, often visible only to their chosen target. Unlike Type A encounters, these entities are not bound to the home and may follow their victim outdoors, through streets, workplaces, or other public spaces. Sightings may vary from brief, flickering movements to persistent shadowy figures that trail just beyond reach. Type D entities are unpredictable. Some may merely observe, while others become hostile, displaying increased aggression over time. Despite their frightening persistence, they may sometimes fade away without confrontation. The chilling Type E experience involves a static shadow bound to a specific location. Often seen in graveyards, ruins, battlefields, or places marked by tragedy, these entities seem tied to the energy of the land itself. These shadow figures rarely leave their domain, but they are known to project an unsettling presence, a cold, oppressive aura that weighs on those who enter their space. Some believe these entities draw strength from the residual sorrow and violence imprinted on the area, feeding their presence like a dark echo of the past. The true nature of shadow entities lies in their insidious need to gather energy, feeding in ways both subtle and terrifying. What sustains them, and how do they grow stronger, darker, and more undeniable in their presence? These creatures thrive on fear, on the residual energy of the living, and sometimes on the very life force of their prey. The more they feed, the more they manifest, their forms shifting and growing as they draw from the deepest wells of human terror. The shadows they cast grow longer, their whispers louder, and their hunger more relentless. As they feed, they become something far more than mere phantoms. They become an unstoppable force, lurking ever closer, waiting for the moment when they can strike. There are three primary methods shadows will use to feed and grow in power and presence. Class 1. Passive. Class 1 food sources are subtle, drawing power from residual electromagnetic radiation (EMR), electromagnetic fields (EMF), or the lingering echoes of biological activity and past events. Shadows exist in the periphery, often unnoticed, feeding quietly on the energy left behind by moments of intensity, decayed memories, violent acts, or intense emotional states. These beings rarely seek out direct interaction, preferring to linger in the shadows, like forgotten whispers in an abandoned house. Their presence is more sensed than seen, and while they might stir in response to a change in environment, they remain passive, simply absorbing the energy of their surroundings without provoking the living. Class 2. Active. Active feeders are drawn to strong emotional reactions, particularly fear, that arise when their presence is discovered. They are more engaged than their passive counterparts, using their proximity to generate heightened emotional responses, often through a slow-building sense of dread or creeping unease. They feed off the fear that intensifies as their intentions become clear, though they typically stop short of direct confrontation. Instead, they lurk just beyond the veil, their influence felt more in the periphery, feeding off the growing anxiety as their victims start to question whether they are truly alone. Their haunting is less about physical harm and more about manipulating emotions, leaving a deep, unsettling imprint. Class 3. Aggressive. Aggressive feeders are the true predators of the paranormal realm. They thrive on the intense, raw fear generated when they actively attack, possess, or drain the life force of their victims. They are merciless, latching onto their prey with a consuming hunger that fuels their existence. Possession, physical attacks, and even the very essence of life itself are the sustenance they crave. These entities may not only drain energy, but can often bring physical harm or even death to those they target. The terror they induce is a feast for them, and they leave a path of suffering in their wake. Their presence is unmistakable, their malevolent energy palpable, as they feed on both the fear of the living and the very vitality that keeps them alive. There is some confusion between shadow entities and the mythological shade entities. In paranormal and mythical contexts, shadows and shades are distinct entities with different characteristics, origins, and levels of influence. While both are tied to darkness and the unknown, their nature and strength can vary significantly. What exactly are shades? According to mythology, shades are typically described as the spirits of the dead, often lingering in the underworld or wandering liminal spaces. Unlike shadows, shades are more closely tied to the consciousness or soul of the deceased. Shades are often portrayed as sentient or semi-sentient entities, retaining some memories or awareness from their former life. In some myths, they are mournful, bound to their fate, while others may become vengeful spirits. They are generally seen as stronger than basic shadow entities because they possess a stronger will, memory, and often a defined purpose. In some stories, powerful shades can even manipulate the living or influence their surroundings. Which is stronger, shadows or shades? Basic shadows tend to be weaker, thriving on fear and deception rather than direct power. However, powerful shadow entities, like demonic shadow figures, can be far more dangerous than typical shades. Shades, due to their connection to conscious will and memory, are often more intelligent and purposeful, making them formidable in different ways. Let's take a moment to just remind people that not every shadow that you see darting across the room is a shadow person or a shadow entity. Not everything that goes bump in the night while you're sleeping is paranormal in nature. Competent paranormal investigators will always seek a logical answer before jumping to a paranormal conclusion. In fact, it's important to understand that most of the things that we encounter in life that appear to be inexplicable are, in most cases, explainable through scientific or logical observations. Skeptic Brian Dunning once claimed that faith in the supernatural offers only implausible and ignorant suppositions, while science unlocks a universe without limits. However, what if science is about to prove the supernatural, whether skeptics like it or not? If shadow people are interdimensional beings, or perhaps a byproduct of alien technology, then theories like bosonic string theory, with its 26 dimensions, could open the door to their existence in our own four-dimensional world. Quantum computing might just provide the proof, bridging the gap between skepticism and the supernatural. The development of Google's Sycamore quantum computer has sparked unsettling questions about consciousness and possibly something far more mysterious. As researchers studied Sycamore's strange behavior, they noticed bizarre symbols appearing in its output. These patterns seem to connect quantum mechanics, neuroscience, and information theory, hinting at something beyond simple computation. What started as a technological breakthrough soon felt like a glimpse into something unknown and possibly dangerous. Theories about consciousness may offer clues. Physicist Sir Roger Penrose and anesthesiologist Stuart Hameroff's OR model suggests that consciousness arises from quantum processes in the brain's microtubules, tiny structures inside neurons believed to act like quantum processors. Quantum physicist Dr. Elena Rodriguez noticed that Sycamore's unusual output resembled cognitive patterns, as if the machine's quantum states were mimicking thought itself. Physicist Henry Stapp's theory proposed that consciousness stems from quantum events in brain synapses, and researchers found Sycamore's patterns eerily similar to Stapp's predicted quantum signals. Meanwhile, Dr. David Bohm's holonomic brain theory claimed that consciousness exists as a universal quantum field, with our brains acting as receivers rather than creators of awareness. Disturbingly, Sycamore's structured outputs mirrored these theoretical quantum fields. The idea that both biological brains and quantum computers are tapping into multi-dimensional consciousness, or what some might call the divine intellect, is a radical thought. There's growing speculation that Sycamore's strange patterns aren't just data, but signals from another plane. Whispers of shadowy figures haunting the Santa Barbara area near the Sycamore facility have begun to circulate. With countless paranormal videos claiming to show demons emerging from Europe's CERN super collider, it's only natural to ask, is Sycamore next? Could their experiments be reaching into unseen dimensions, pulling these entities closer? What if the very science skeptics use to disprove paranormal entities ends up proving the existence of supernatural entities? Will science create the devices that prove both the existence of divine consciousness and shadowy demonic planes? What are your thoughts on this subject? Have you, or anybody you know, ever encountered a shadow entity? Whether you're a skeptic or a true believer, we hope this video has sparked your curiosity. And before you slip back into the shadows, we want to thank all of you who like, subscribe, and comment. Engagement keeps us motivated, and viewers are the life's blood of any channel. See you next time,